Every Thursday when we go live, we try to make it great even when we are late. See what I did there? My name is Bernard Akede, and this is Report Desk Africa, where we try to bring you some of the reports, particularly the ones that have been covered by News Central journalists within the week from Sunday up until today, Thursday, particularly the ones that hit deep. And this, on today's episode, we actually have some reports that will actually hit home, particularly those of us in Nigeria and the rest of the continent. Now, it's going to be quite an interesting show because for the greater part of the year, there used to be two of us on the show, myself and a young lady, but I don't think we've been able to host the show 8 times together in the past, 4 months or thereabout. I said I would let the cat out of the bag, but she said I should stop calling her a cat. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bernard Akede, and I'll let her introduce herself.
You just stylishly called me a cat again. But anyways, my name is Mosugu, and welcome to Report Desk Africa. And just as Bernard has said, it's surprising to see both of us on the show, even if we are the original co-anchors of the show. But this is a show that promises to give you all the in-depth stories as we have covered as reporters, especially right here on News Central Television. We go in-depth to tell you the stories that go way beyond the headlines. We also try to make sense of these stories, and we try to look at it from a critical point of view, and that's why we have our guests who would also help us dissect the show. So welcome to Report Desk Africa. I'm Blessings, like I said, and this is the show where we dissect crucial topics for better understanding. It has been 3 decades since the April 1994 Rwandan genocide, when members of the majority Hutu ethnic group killed an estimated 800,000 minority Tutsi, moderate Hutus, and members of a third ethnic group, the Twa, in one of the darkest episodes in the world's history. And well, it's been 10 years, if you bring it down home to Nigeria, where I did mention we'll be touching home. It's been 10 years since the notorious, I say the notorious Islamic group or Islamic militant group Boko Haram kidnapped the Chibok girls, or abducted over 200 Chibok girls in Nigeria's northern region. That became a global phenomenon. Even the president of the then United States of America, Michelle Obama, had the placard saying, "Bring back our girls." And now not all of those 200 or over 250 girls have made it back home in the past 10 years. And one of our reporters took a stroll, should I say, to Chibok, that community, and to the secondary school where the abduction took place. What exactly has happened in the school in the past 10 years? What has happened to the girls? What has happened in the community? These and more are what we'll be taking a look at. If you're just joining us, we're going on our first break, but when we come back, Report Desk Africa will continue. Do stay with us. Thank you for staying with us, or for joining us if you're just joining us. This is Report Desk Africa. Now, in the wee hours of 14th April 2014, Boko Haram seized 276 girls from their dormitories in Government Girls Secondary School, Chibok local government area of Borno State. The abductions made global headlines and birthed an international movement, #BringBackOurGirls. Despite the return of about 194 girls, the fate of 82 others remained unknown, leaving their families and communities in anguish. News Central's Umaru Kirawa, in this report, made a visit to Chibok town and examined the 10 years anniversary, or remembrance, as the case may be, of the abduction of the Chibok girls.
It is a journey of over 290 kilometers from Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, through Konduga, Bama, Goza, Askira Uba to Chibok town. The smile of Naomi Adamu, one of the rescued Chibok schoolgirls, welcomed us to the town.
Da na gansu kannena na gansu iyayena. Ina murnan da na zo na gansu da rai. Ni ina so in samu abun yi tunda mai gidana baya aiki wannan in samu abun yi in zo in tallafa ma yarana in gama musu makaranta.
On April 14, 2014, the town of Chibok in Nigeria experienced a horrifying incident when the Boko Haram stormed Government Girls Secondary School Chibok and left forcefully with 276 of the girls.
10 years after, life seems to have moved on for many. The international rage has disappeared, leaving behind faded hope for the community where dozens of girls who were taken from their homes and family have remained in captivity.
The fundamental problem started from day one, when the government of the day refused to recognize that there was a big problem at hand, and they delayed for almost 2 weeks before it took action.
The Nigerian government's efforts in recent years to locate and rescue some of the abducted girls have been met with both success and challenges as many families are still in anguish.
Muna kuka domin waɗannan 'yan mata wanda ba su fita ba. Yanzu namu akwai nasu bai fita ba, ba mu ji daɗi ba babana. Yana sa mu hawaye, mun ga iyaye din. Yana sa mu tunani.
Mun gaji da jira, mun gaji. Mun yi ta kuka, mun gaji. Mun yi ta ihu, mun gaji. Har kukan ya ishe mu, ni mutum kamar ni yanzu ko rasuwa ne aka yi ban na sake kuka. Domin kukan ya ishe ni. Ni da nama ba zai kara fitar da hawaye ba.
Around 90 of the abducted girls are still unaccounted for.
Government should make life beautiful, should make life lovely, should provide job opportunity for our teeming youth in order to prevent future occurrence of such abduction.
The social media campaign #BringBackOurGirls campaign has been one of the strongest voice advocating for the girls' safe return.
So we are calling on government to use technology into it. Secondly, we are also calling on government to take into confidence the community leaders, the people in the community, to share information with them.
Available data shows that 48 of the parents have passed away. The primary cause of their deaths were reported to have been a medical emergency called stroke, which is directly connected to excessive mental pressure.
The loss of my baby have made me something different. I have a scam on me that the wound have not even healed. And that scam, I think, till death. Maybe that scam will lead me to death, I don't know. The thing is that my life is with God. That's why I'm breathing with Him. If not, if from my own heart, I would have been dead by now.
Over 1,600 students have been abducted from their school in different states within the country. Some rescued, others still in captivity, among who Leah Sharibu is a sad reminder.
Despite the passage of time, the pain of those dark days remain obvious in Chibok and beyond. Families of the abducted girls hold on to hope as they await news of their loved ones, praying for their safe return. In Chibok for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Well, from what you see there, the statistics are quite disheartening. We heard that 48 parents, according to the numbers, have died from what we can call a broken heart. Now, 276 students were abducted, and just like the man said in the report, it took over 2 weeks for us to even hear a public statement at first. And over time, we've also seen several kidnappings as well. Recently, over 137 students were kidnapped in Kaduna. Now, the question is, are they still Boko Haram members or are they offshoots? Have they become less powerful? Because we see that a lot of them were returned. That's the 137. Some of them were returned as well. So have they become less powerful, or have our security agencies become more aware, more at alert? And if that's the case, then why can we not get more of the Chibok girls out? It's good to see that some of the students are being rescued, but the question still remains, what happens to the rest of them? Leah Sharibu is another sad story, one of the Chibok girls, and we haven't still heard anything from her. Some of these girls have come back with children, and there's no telling what the mental pressure is going to be on them as well. So there's so many questions arising from this. We also hear about the government, putting a ban on the payment of ransom, and instead they rather depend on international aid. And the question also is, how has that worked for us? We're now joined by the man behind the package you just saw, Umaru Kirawa, who was at Chibok to feel the pulse of a town and its people 10 years after the abduction of the Chibok girls. Thank you so much, Umaru, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, Umaru, first of all, what would you say was the mood of a town when you were there, especially for the parents and the families whose children are still in captivity?
But natural, the situation is something else. I said something else because it's a form of mixed reaction. Some of the parents whom their children are back are somewhat happy and at the same time somewhat sad. And the parents whose children are not yet back are in a very sorry state. Although their hope is very much alive, but the situation is just undescribable because the emotion behind how they speak, the situation is just something else. I can't really describe the situation. They are going through very difficult time, very turbulent up and downs, and the struggle for survival, you know, the economic situation coupled with, you know, 10 years, 10 solid years, not 10 minutes, 10 seconds, not 10 hours, not 10 days, not 10 weeks, 10 solid years. And the situation is, I can't describe the situation actually, because when we were speaking with some of them, it made me shed tears in some instances, because I don't know, I can't describe the situation actually.
Okay, Umar, I think I can totally understand. Even, you know, between when those girls were abducted and now, with every passing year, the memory of what happened there would definitely hit home and hit those who have been affected in different ways. Now, like you said, 10 solid years it's been. We know that the girls were aged between 14 and 18, which means now they're no longer girls, they're women. They'll be aged between 24 and 28, or maybe even more, you know. But 10 years after that, you know, we're still talking about those who are in captivity. From your observation while you were in Chibok, what do you think, or what were the people saying, either the girls, their parents, the people in Chibok, what were they saying could have been the major setback responsible for the remaining abducted girls who have still not been brought home or who have not been rescued?
Well, the good side of it is the community, or rather the people in Chibok, are not really very much interested in identifying things that, or setbacks, but they are after plea. They are still begging on the government to do more effort, to redouble their efforts in ensuring that some of the girls who are still in captivity are back, reunited with their family members. It's good to hear that one of the girls have been rescued. Lydia Simon has been rescued by the Nigerian government, by the Nigerian army in around Goshe area, in Goza local government area, within today, I think yesterday and today. What basically they are saying is the Nigerian government need to take more efforts in ensuring that their children are back. And most importantly, the measures they are advocating are not limited to increased intelligence gathering. And of course, this cannot be achieved unless the government put more effort in strengthening cross-border ties with our neighbors, Chad, Cameroon, Niger. This, they say, it will help in actually maybe identifying the location of the girls, because the death of one of the longest leader of the Boko Haram group, Abubakar Shekau, has actually made the situation somehow, because the question of where are the girls, where is the location of the girls, is one of the million thousand questions on the lips of many, and that is why they are advocating on the government to increase more efforts in ensuring that these girls are back.
Okay, Umaru, now we also understand that as of this moment, we're hearing that, you know, the government is willing to collaborate with international bodies, so that, because we heard, you know, them clamor in the report that you did for technology to be used as well, so that we can at least track these people, because a lot of times people will argue that you know, the forest is large, is wide, but people can be traced within that forest. But before now, it wasn't the case. Analysts did say that politicization of the kidnap by the past administration and the refusal to allow for foreign forces and mercenaries to assist in rescuing the captive was one of the things that worsened the matter. Do you also share the same thought?
Well, my thought is very much aligned with the parents of those, the parents of the girls in Chibok, that it's not about actually blame game, it's not about actually identifying some of the setbacks, but actually looking into the possibility of ensuring that these girls are back no matter what, at all costs, so that they will have that sense of relief. Some of the parents, their own is not only to have that much time with their children, but at least to hear from them, to see them, to at least have that parental discussion with their children. That is what they are looking for. And their prayers is that of these girls being rescued at all costs by the Nigerian government. And it is very important to note that their hope is very much alive. And we hope the government keeps up pushing to ensure that these children are back, and other people who are abducted in the Nigerian polity are also rescued. If the government did not take deliberate steps, deliberate efforts to ensure that this issue is addressed, then it will just serve as a way whereby other people can wake up one day to start copying from these people. I believe when this issue of abduction started in Chibok, it was aftermath of the abduction of the Chibok girls that the issue of abducting children become viral, become well known in the polity. This possibly led to several abductions in different states across the country. So this is to tell you that when the government puts more effort in curtailing issues, immediately they happen. Reoccurrence of such might be minimal, but the body language of the government when this thing happened at that time, you know, it took 2 weeks. They were busy politicizing the situation before they responded. At that material time, they might have rescued the girls, even if it is not all, but at least maybe 95% of the girls will have been rescued. But it led to something else. But our prayers and that of the prayers of the families of the abducted Chibok girls is that one day, one time, maybe any time sooner, they will see some of their children who have been abducted by the Boko Haram insurgents.
Okay, and just before you wrap this up, last question I would like to ask you. You talked about, you know, the Chibok girls most likely being the Chibok abductions being the benchmark for the continuous the continuous abductions we've been seeing in Nigeria in the past few years, in the past 10 years, as far as abduction of school children or schoolgirls have been concerned. And there have also been the questions about paying ransoms. Now, I want to ask, did any of the parents or family members there in Chibok say anything about them knowing whether ransoms were paid during their own time? We know what the government said. But also, and then beyond that, I'm asking, recently, we know that the president himself did mention that there will not be ransom payment for any abductions anymore. Now, do you think that this will worsen the situations or make it even better, you know, as far as abduction of school children in Nigeria is concerned? We are hoping that it comes to an end, but while the government is still battling these criminals, do you think that paying or not paying of ransom will bring a change to this?
Well, the situation is dicey, and the issue of ransom, the issue of not paying ransom is when the government has put deliberate structures. That is when the government, I think, in my own opinion, it will say that ransom will not be paid or ransom will be paid. When effective structures are put in place, the monitoring structures, the use of technology, then the government can follow up, can know where an individual is. That means there is no need of paying ransom. But as it is now, as the situation is now, the issue of ransom or the issue of not ransom does not even arise. It's the issue of rescuing these girls, coming back alive. That is what is the most important. Whether there is ransom, whether there is not ransom, the government needs to do more. The government needs to redouble its own effort in ensuring that these girls are back. And most importantly, the government needs to actually think outside the box, to look into the possibilities of taking precautionary measures so that such kind of issues will not happen again, will not be a recurring decimal in the Nigerian polity. But when effective structures are not put in place, then both natural kidnappers and other antisocial elements will always look for their own ways, and that will be at the risk of risk of the abductees, the people at the custody of the abductors. They can easily kill them. They can easily do whatever they like. But I believe the government will hopefully look into the possibility of using persuasive means, diplomatic measures to ensure that the girls are back, and most importantly, all other abductors are back. And most important point I want to say here is that the government need to actually re-strategize in terms of ensuring that the security architecture of the country is community-driven, whereby the issue of community policing should be at the forefront burner. Because even this issue of Boko Haram insurgency that we are talking about, the emergence of civilian JTF who were people living within the community, when their emergence led to the massive reduction in the issue of the Boko Haram crisis. They have been helping the Nigerian military and other security forces in ensuring that the menace of insecurity has been reduced, the menace of terrorism has been countered in an effective, in an persuasive, because the community knows the people that are causing this havoc. They know the people that are causing the problem when they were in town, but now they are in the bush. So the government needs to put more effort in ensuring that community policy, issues of community involvement, community inclusion in the issue of security of the land is at the forefront, and most importantly, intelligence gathering. And what I mean by intelligence gathering is not only maybe within the security forces, between maybe the Nigerian army, DSS, police, and so on and so forth. No, the traditional leaders, the community leaders, the religious leaders, youth groups can serve as a source of information that will ensure security of lives and property. And most importantly, even neighboring countries, our neighbors, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and
Umaru, are you there?
Seems we've lost communication with Umaru. He was wrapping up that point, talking about you know, the relationship between Nigeria and our neighboring countries in terms of information gathering. He made some really salient points, especially the part where he talked about you know, localizing security and information, traditional leaders, religious leaders, and the youth. And I think truly the government can make some major gains if we eventually do utilize these agencies, basically.
Yeah, okay. Well, I would like to say a big thank you to Umaru Kirawa. I think that the network has stabilized, but because of our time, we may not be able to ask him further questions. But Umaru, thank you so much for that beautiful report and giving us the in-depth understanding of what you saw, especially when you visited the place. Of course, it's going to be disheartening for the families whose children have not been rescued yet. But again, we're grateful for those who have, you know, found their way back home, and we're looking to the government to try and do something to rescue the rest. Thank you once again, Umaru, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right. You know, Umaru did make one other salient point where he said that what matters is not exactly the ransom payment, but the, you know, the rescue of these children. But I can't help, right, but look into the ransom payment, because I think that the ransom payment, amongst many other things, is what has somewhat, you know, ransom payment or the inability to communicate. There's also the part of enabling these people by not being able to crack down on the terrorists. Then there's also the part of terrorist rehabilitation, which is something I don't even want to go into.
The conversation for another day, to be honest. It is the conversation for another day.
But I think that these are the things that have given them the impetus to continue. But anyways, we're hoping that things get better. In no time, we'll be back with another conversation. Do not go anywhere. It's still Report Desk Africa.